Best of r/malicious compliance episode 117. Subscribe for Reddit videos daily. Back in the early 90s, I was attending a very large university in a southwest desert state that's known for this gigantic natural wonder in the northern part of the state. I worked on campus in the campus network telecommunications department. In fact, one might remember an earlier story regarding playing games on the dial-ups, link here. Regardless, one of the many other jobs we held in the telecom department was that of dispatching technicians to install or repair office phones. Some of these phones, plain old telephone sets, or POTS, were your run-of-the-mill touch-tone desk phones, while others were multi-line phones, like the Merlin series. One of our techs was named Tom, and we called him Tommy Telephone because he was exceptionally good at repairing phones or phone lines. Sometimes the lines would go bad. It was twisted pair copper wire, after all, so he'd have to replace the wiring at the box, and sometimes all it took was a replacement of the POTS and taking back the bad set to the shop where it could be taken apart and fixed there to be reused later. Tom and I got along really well. I picked up early on which department secretaries were repeat offenders for calls regarding bad lines and which were ones that honestly needed new sets. One in particular in the modern languages building we had lots of notes on, because she would call and ask specifically for Tom to get there now to fix her phone line. Tom, for his part, was always courteous, but man, we would get the lowdown once he returned to the office and cleared his ticket queue. So one day Tom was sent to a remote office a good 20-30 minutes away from campus, which meant that he was not going to be doing a whole heck of a lot that day. We had intentionally sent him there because he was scheduled to be out for the following week for vacation, so he basically was just working phone issues in that remote office for the rest of the afternoon and then calling it a day afterwards. As it happens, our lovely lady from Modern Languages decided to call in to report a phone problem. We had other techs available to be dispatched, but the conversation went something like this. Me, telecom trouble line. How can I help you? Lady, I need Tommy Telephone to fix a line in Professor What's-His-Name's office. Room 504. Me, Tom's not available at the moment, but I can send Dave over. What's the problem the professor is having? Lady, no, it has to be Tommy. No one else knows how to fix the lines here. Side note, many of the fixes were actually Tom just swapping out POTS, but they didn't need to know that. Me, well, I need to know the specifics for the ticket. You said 504, right? Can the phone call out? Be called? Does it ring? Lady, no. When can Tommy get here? Me, I'm sending Dave over in just a bit. He'll be there in 10. Lady, no, I need Tommy. Dave won't know how to fix this. Me, well, Tommy is out at remote office right now, and after that he's going to be. Lady, interrupts. I don't care. I don't want to see anyone else. Me, okay, hold on a sec. At this point, I put the lady on speakerphone, so my manager could hear the rest of this conversation. Me, okay, so just so I'm completely clear on this, you don't want Dave sent out, you want Tommy. Lady, yes. Tommy is the only one that fixes things. Me, and you're willing to wait until he gets back, no matter how long it'll be. Lady, exasperated, yes. I look over at my manager, and he just shrugs and nods affirmative. Me, okay, I'll send Tommy out when he gets back. It might be a while. Lady, interrupts. Yes, what's so hard about this? Put Emmy at the top of his list. At this point, I gave the lady the ticket number and put the ticket in Tom's inbox with a note that said do this one first. Manager told us that since it was Friday, if the lady called back next week demanding Tommy, we were to tell her that she's the first one on his list when he gets back from vacation, per her request, and if she wanted to have someone else come out, like Dave, we'd need to cancel the old ticket and open a new one and someone would eventually get there. She called twice on Monday and once on Tuesday, all 3 times not during my shift, and didn't call again until after Tom returned a week and a half later. When Tom did eventually get out to room 504, he said that the actual problem was that the phone cord to the back of the POTS wasn't plugged in all the way, so he just reseated it and Viola. It worked. Then he asked me why Dave didn't get sent out. Well, according to her, you are the only one that fixes things, so she had to be at the top of your list. What about the professor whose office that was? Tom replied, he just went next door to the vacant office in 503 and used the phone in there. Thank you. Next. I am a salaried engineer for a large manufacturing facility. I am one of 6 engineers on the off shifts and one of only 2 on third shift. Due to the current world situation, they have announced that they are not paying overtime, but in an effort to have weekend manufacturing engineering support, our normal 5/8 schedule is being changed. Now it is 10-hour days. 3 on 2 off, 3 on 3 off, 4 on 2 off. We are required to work zany scheduled holiday but use our vacation time on any other day. The second shift guys like this, but the third shift group, me and the other guy, are against this. As a result, I have used all of my vacation time from now to the rest of the year to take off every weekend day that I can. Same with the other third shift guy. We hope to show them that this doesn't work since they cannot dent our vacation time. Thank you. Next. This is a story of malicious compliance used against me. Years ago when I was 13 or 14, I had a friend spend the night. In the morning we were up playing video games on a Sega Genesis. My mom had gone out to do early errands and announced her return. As a treat, she had brought back a cinnamon roll for us to split. We were really into our game, so we did not get up right away to eat. My friend Joel gets up and says that he is hungry and wanted to know if I wanted to go into the kitchen and split the cinnamon roll. I told him I wanted to try to beat another level of the game we were playing. He got up and walked into the kitchen. From the kitchen, Joel yells, "Do you want to come in here and claim your half, or are you fine with me eating mine now? Just go ahead and cut it and eat your half. I will eat mine in a few minutes." About 10 minutes later, Joel comes back from eating his breakfast. I start to get hungry and remember the amazing frosting and wonderfulness that a cinnamon roll makes. I hand Joel the controller and tell him I am going to go eat now. He just says, "Okay." I walk into the kitchen, find the cinnamon roll, and all I can do is semi-yell, "What the hell?" My mom, who was in the kitchen, turns and looks where I am looking and just starts laughing hysterically. My friend did something I think would have even been beyond when the world's worst dictators conceiving. He took the top half of the cinnamon roll. He took half, and as he pointed out, I had told him I didn't care how he cut it. It was on for the next few years. Thank you. Next. This happened back when I was in high school. I was generally a pretty quiet, mellow kid in school. Teachers generally liked me, and I'd never be a disruptive one. One day at the start of my AP English class, I settled into my seat near the back of the classroom, but something was wrong. The back of my neck started to hurt a lot. It had been gradually getting sorer throughout the day, but now it had quickly become agonizing. The rest of the class was still talking and getting settled in before class started, and the teacher, Mrs. O, was gradually getting more annoyed by it. She walked to the back of the classroom, asking for quiet the whole time, until she arrived by my desk, where I was starting to writhe with pain. She wasn't paying attention to me, though. She was focused on the noisy kids. I sort of meekly raised my hand and said, Mrs. O. Without looking at me, she slammed her hand on my desk, with a quiet. I was taken aback again and figured maybe she didn't understand I was trying to sincerely get her attention. So I tried again, which just made her angrier. I sat quiet. Now, this was normally a pretty chill teacher. I got along with her well, and she was generally well liked, including by me. The other students happened to just be particularly rowdy that day, which put her in the worst mood I've ever seen from her. So I meekly pulled my hand down and shut up. The class quickly got the message that she was serious, so they all shut up too. She went to the front of the room and the lesson started as normal. But in the meanwhile, my pain was getting worse. I was grabbing at my neck, sort of hunched over, unable to pay attention. A girl sitting next to me raised her hand and, I'm not exaggerating here, said, Mrs. O, I think OP is dying. I remember suddenly everyone in the class looked at me to see me contorted in my desk, and the teacher came back over in a hurry. I think I need the nurse or something. She frantically asked why I didn't say anything earlier. You told me to be quiet. To this day, I've never seen someone look as horrified and guilt-stricken. Ultimately, the nurse sent for EMTs and I was taken to the ER. It turns out that there had been a meningitis outbreak recently, and one of the main symptoms is a stiff sore neck. The guys had face shields on and everything. I was wheeled out of the high school nurse's office in a gurney. It was a whole thing. I tested negative ultimately, and was diagnosed with just a muscle strain. But the teacher did come to the hospital to say hi and apologize. I never really held it against her. She still is one of my favorite teachers, and I hope she's learned to be just a little more conscientious. Thank you. Next. So sorry for any grammar mistakes. English is not my first language. Now on to the cast. Maintenance coordinator, project manager. That's the official charge of him, but he also acts as the manager for the maintenance work team. Mechanic, electrician. It's your boy me. First, a little introduction to the story. This happened back in December, 2 weeks before Christmas, so I'll try to give as much info as I can remember. In our work plan for the year, we decide the date and time required for maintenance of every important equipment of the process. The engine in question of the story is part of a residual water treatment plant. The company uses some chemicals. Can't give more details. The scheduled time for the maintenance of this plant was one maintenance every 2 years and always be on mid-January all the way to February. Is a big structure and needs to be done in parts. But midway through November, the operator notified us that the engine stopped working all of a sudden. When then we're given the order by MC to go take a look and see what happened to it. We have a contract with the company who makes this engines, and in said contract we are not allowed to do anything to the engine besides inspection or change minor things like the engine band and stuff like that. Anything major needs to be done by them. Said company is located 4 states away. After doing a quick inspection, mechanic and electrician said that the engine seems to be stuck due to overheat or lack of oil. They then go back to the maintenance area to inform maintenance coordinator about what they found. This is where it all starts to go south. Mechanic, we have done a quick inspection and decided that the cause of the problem could be due to the lack of oil caused by a filtration on some part of the engine or for overheat of the engine. Maintenance coordinator, okay, I'll contact our repair company and let them know about the situation. Go on and ask OP if there's any work planned for today. Mechanic, okay. A few days later. Maintenance coordinator on the radio, OP, can you tell mechanic and electrician to come to my office and you come as well? OP, okay, we'll be there in 5 minutes. 5 minutes later. Maintenance coordinator, I need you guys to take out the engine and bring it here. IRAPA just contacted me and said we need to send the engine to them, so they can start working on it. Okay, working on it. We take the engine out and bring it back to the maintenance building. Electrician, yo, mechanic and OP, can you see something different in the engine? Mechanic takes a look at the engine. Wait, I think you're right. Mechanic then goes and tries to make the axis rotate. Mechanic, I think the engine is fine. OP, yay, maybe something was stuck in the axis and prevent the engine from working normally. I'll tell maintenance coordinator about this. OP, maintenance coordinator, we think the engine is fine. Mechanic made a little test on the axis and it seems to be working correctly. Mechanic comes into the office. Mechanic, maintenance coordinator, can we test the engine and see if works normally? I think the problem was something stuck in the axis. MC, no, leave it like that. Just package it and get it ready to ship it tomorrow. I told you IRAPA will take care of it. Mechanic, but we send it like that and the engine is fine. Maintenance coordinator cuts off mechanic. Just do as I said and report me if anything happens. Now this last words is because maintenance coordinator was going on vacation the next day for 2 weeks. Project manager was going on vacation as well. Mechanic turning to me with a face of concern and turning back to maintenance coordinator. Okay, if you said so. We then proceed to do as maintenance coordinator said and package the engine. We send it the next day to IRAPA and hope for the best. The next day, Friday, comes and we sent the engine to IRAPA. The following will be a recap of what happened as I didn't took part of most of the interactions that ensued and only hear a recap from mechanic and electrician after everything ended. Monday comes, then Tuesday when suddenly project manager comes to work out of nowhere. A few hours pass and PM calls mechanic to his office. Then after mechanic comes out, he calls electrician to the office. While electrician is in the office, mechanic tells me that project manager is really mad, like really mad. I ask why. Mechanic tells me that IRAPA sent an email about what they found. Nothing. but because they had already opened the engine to take a look and did a little clean of the engine, they will be charging us the full cost of the maintenance $5,000. 00 just to wipe some dust from the engine. During the week, project manager called a meeting with us and informed us to never follow the orders of maintenance coordinator regarding stuff like this without first consulting it with him, and that if we see any other decision like this from maintenance coordinator we should inform him as fast as we can. We later found out that project manager called maintenance coordinator to a meeting in which the general director and other big shots from the company, they went all over with maintenance coordinator about taking that decision like that even after M had told them that the engine could be fine. They even called him out on other bad decisions he has been making and told him to make sure this is the last one or else he'll be out of the company. Thank you. Next. In high school my standard outfit included a backward flat rim baseball cap. One teacher, in the middle of class, called me out. OP, you need to take off your hat. It's distracting. What about the 13 other guys in this class with a similar hat? Well, it's distracting when a girl wears a baseball cap. I was fuming. Baseball caps on girls are distracting? Fine, I won't wear one. Next class period, I wore a 3-foot-tall, red and yellow Joker hat that featured bells. So that if I moved my head at all 16 bells shook. At the end of an hour and a half of bells, the teacher pulled me aside to ask that I go back to my baseball cap. Apparently it was no longer distracting. Thank you. Next. So this is about me, then 16, now 23, and my mom. My mom is usually the best mom I can imagine, but at this time my grandma, her mother, just died and we got a lot of frustration because I was always feeling sick, stomach pain and some dizziness. This kept on going on and was getting worse. At one point I wasn't able to see for a while. Like, in the morning I would get out of bed, my sight went black and my head spun. In this state I was walking out of my room, along the hallway, down the stairs, another hallway, into the kitchen. When I was at the fridge opening the door I could see again, and my mother didn't believe me. School was horror at this time. My school had a lot of stairs and I was constantly tired, dizzy and so unconcentrated. Of course a tad sad and a lot of frustrated. She always used to believe me when I wasn't feeling good. One day I just couldn't anymore. I was so tired, sitting in our kitchen and I just wanted back into my bed. So I asked my mom, begged her to stay home, except for pay I had very good grades. Mom, so you're feeling sick again? This can't go on like this. Me, but mom, it's not again, it's still. I feel really dizzy. Mom, you're always tired. I get you to the doctor. He will tell you how sick you really are. At this point I was so frustrated and just yelled back. Me, yeah, please. Please take me to the doctor. Finally, I wanted to go for weeks. Mom, okay, get dressed. We are going right now. Then we know for sure you aren't sick. So we made our way to our doc and I can't remember everything he did, but he did a complete blood count. I hope that's the right translation. So the nurse handed me my results. There was an inflammatory value which standard was between 3.5, maximum was 8. Mine was 124. The doctor walked back in and told my mother, so please don't be shocked. I am writing your daughter a referral to the hospital. She has to immediately go there. My mom was shocked. Didn't say a word. As we got there, a nurse came rushing with a wheelchair, due to my dizziness, and I was hospitalized for over a week. My mom apologized and never ever didn't believe me again.